Hi, I'm Stephen Feinberg, Executive Director of the Rhode Island Film and Television Office. Our guest tonight is a terrific actor. He helps the community. He inspires kids. His name is Robert Capron, and we are happy to have you here at Double Feature. How's it going, pal?
Oh, it's great. Thanks for having me.
And thank you for taking time. You're going to Brown right now.
Yeah, I am. And no problem. My first class is at 12, so
I got time. Super.
I got time.
So, Robert, how did you get started in your acting profession?
Yeah, so actually, I started completely through Trinity Rep in Providence. They taught an after-school class in my elementary school, and I kind of just took it on a whim, and I really liked it. And so we had to write our own play. Mm-hmm. And so the first thing I ever really acted in was called Super Baby Save Halloween, and I played Spider Baby, and it was great. Okay. And so after the performance, the people who taught the class...
And you wrote that, Super Baby?
Well, it wasn't just me. It was like everybody in the class,
okay.
But like I helped, I contributed. I was really into superheroes at the time, and I don't really remember, but I like to think I wrote most of it.
Right.
But so after the one performance we did, the instructors came up to my parents and said, "Your son's actually pretty good. We teach actual classes at the theater if he'd have any interest in that." So I did, and then they do a Christmas Carol every year, and I was the turkey boy in that. Okay. So I had to speak with a Cockney accent, which I don't even remember, but it was really fun. And people just kept telling me that I was really good and I should stick with it. So I ended up getting an agent in Boston, then I got an agent in New York. My first movie role was this really small role in Bride Wars, which they filmed in Massachusetts.
Right.
But I had a scene with Anne Hathaway, and that was like my first ever scene, so that was pretty cool.
That's cool.
And then I got really lucky with Diary of a Wimpy Kid, and then from there, everything's just kind of snowballed for me.
So you auditioned for Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
Yeah.
And how was that experience? Where did you guys film that?
Yeah, so Diary of a Wimpy Kid was filmed in Vancouver, British Columbia. Yep. So I've probably spent about roughly a year of my life there filming those 3 movies, then this other TV thing I did called The Haunting Hour.
Yep.
So I've probably spent about a year of my life there. And I first found out for the audition for Wimpy Kid at the premiere of Bride Wars, which in retrospect, I still don't know why I was invited to that because my role was so small.
Right.
But I mean, I'm not complaining.
But isn't it kind of cool for anyone who's watching is that work begets work and just being out there? Someone said it's, sometimes it's 90% of showing up.
Oh yeah. No, like that's I mean that's definitely part of it, and you just have to keep putting yourself out there.
Right. So then you develop those relationships. Right?
Yeah. No, that's exactly it. Like I'm actually a movie I just filmed this summer, The Polka King. The people who wrote and directed that Wally and Maya wrote Diary of a Wimpy Kid 3. So they thought of me when it came to auditioning for this character, and then
and they had done Infinitely Polar Bear with Mark Ruffalo and Zoe Saldana here in Rhode Island.
Right. Yeah.
So
they have.
It's
that idea. Yeah.
So Diary of a Wimpy Kid, were you working with the same crew, or did the crew rotate, or?
Yeah. So for the first movie, it was the first crew. And then for the second movie, it was mostly new people, but some of the same people. We had a new director for the second and third one. And then for the third movie, it was kind of a mix of the first crew and the second crew. There were some people that stayed throughout all 3.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm a little sad because, like, I really became very good friends with a lot of those people. I'm probably never going to see most of them again.
It's a strange thing. You spend so much time, and and again, there's a lot of pressure, but you're spending time, you get so close, and then it's like,
and then you all just go your separate ways.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's like not necessarily like the kid who played Farrelly in Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I'm still very good friends with him. I talk to him all the time. And the kid who played Greg.
Right.
Like,
you guys are like the Lord of the Rings.
Sure. Yeah.
So can I ask you something? When you're working with, you're preparing the part, and you're reading the script, you're preparing. What are some of the steps you go through as an actor to go through like your character?
Yeah. So my acting technique is kind of weird in that, like, whenever I act, I don't really know how to describe it other than I just turn my brain off. Like when I'm memorizing stuff, I pretty much just read the line over and over again, and then I move on to the next line. But then before I say that line, I say the line before that, so I'm just kind of like ingraining it in my head.
Yeah.
So I mean that in terms of memorization, that's essentially what I do. But in terms of like actually acting, I pretty much just do it.
Organically.
That's really the best word
So let
for
me
it.
ask you something, because I write and
yeah.
So and I have to go over my script a lot, so I have to pretend in a weird way that I've never seen it before.
Yeah.
Do you do the same thing as an actor? Do you like?
That's what I try
You
to
have it
do.
memorized, but at the same time, you have to make it like you've never seen it before.
That's exactly it. Like,
Spontaneous?
yeah, there was actually actually a really good example is that there's been times where I've tried to just like really say like I should be doing this for this line, this for this line, and every time I do that, I mess myself up because I'm overthinking it.
Yep.
And so yeah, I'm actually one of my classes at Brown. A lot of what one of the professors is saying is something essentially that what I've been doing like without even really realizing it, which is that you can't do that. You kind of have to. Just,
Right. When you're reading a script, do you read it out loud?
No.
So you don't get those like little inflections of how to hone in and how you want to say it?
Well, when I'm reading the entire script, I usually just read it
Yep.
to myself, but I guess in a way, I read it out loud just like very quietly to myself, like with nobody else around.
right.
Like with my specific lines, I practice it
Okay,
a
that's
couple
what I
times
mean.
out loud. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I meant. That's
Yeah.
what I meant. So then from Diary of a Wimpy Kid, you went on to do, the Three Stooges
Yes.
with the Farrelly
That
Brothers.
was
You were young Curly,
interesting.
right?
I was young Curly. I like even when I watch the Diary of a Wimpy Kid movies or that movie, I just think like, oh my God, I look so different. It's ridiculous. Like it's crazy. But Three Stooges was very fun, very interesting. I got my voice to a pitch I don't think I'll ever be able to get it to again. But I had a blast filming that, and it was really interesting. It was a really interesting experience acting-wise because I was young Curly, so I was essentially acting like the older Curly was supposed to act, who was acting like the original Curly was supposed to act. So I was like emulating somebody.
Right.
So like it's really weird, like how the lines kind of blur in terms of like.
I thought it was so fun. I thought that movie was so funny.
Yeah, no, I went to see that movie with my friends like 3 times just because like they like that kind of humor anyway, so they really, really enjoyed it.
How was it working with the Farrelly Brothers? They're Rhode Island guys.
Yeah, no, it was really, really nice working with them. I mean, like you said, they've done a lot of things in Rhode Island, so it was really cool. Like, just get even the idea of working.
Now,
with
how
them
did
in
you
the
get
first
that
place.
gig? Through Diary of a Wimpy Kid?
Yeah, like it was one of those things where yeah, like Three Stooges was also a Fox movie, and all the Diary of a Wimpy Kid movies were Fox movies. So I was pretty familiar with a lot of the people that were involved. And so, yeah, I pretty much just auditioned for it. I essentially, with the help of my dad, wrote my own like mini script.
Oh, really?
For the audition, yeah. I actually completely forgot about that until you just brought it up. But that was really fun. We spent like a day just like looking through all the old like Three Stooges shorts and taking like specific like classic jokes from each one and kind of just trying to push that all together.
That's cool.
So, yeah.
So that's important too, is that your audition was, you spent the time, you prepared, and you wanted to stand out.
Yeah.
It was important.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, if there's one thing I can definitely say, just in terms of auditions that I've always tried to do, is that you should always try to walk in with it memorized, because that shows that you put the time in, that you actually care about the part.
You're a professional.
Yeah, like, I mean, there's certain auditions where, and this is almost a whole other experience in itself, where you just walk in and they just give you the sides right then. They're like, it's a cold read.
Right.
And I respect those auditions just as much, in the sense that, like, they really want to see just naturally what you've got.
Right.
And so in a way, like, I really respect that, but at the same time, like, most auditions nowadays, they give you, like, a week's of prep time beforehand or something like that. So definitely have it memorized, I would say.
Now, you also have done a show for CBS called Elementary.
Yes.
How did that all come about?
Yeah, so I just got an audition from my agent for like the Elementary, which is the New York Sherlock Holmes, and I'd actually seen the British version, like Sherlock with Benedict Cumberbatch.
That's Cumberbatch, right?
Yeah, and that's really good. But I never seen Elementary, so it's like, like I should probably check this out a bit. Yeah. And I remember my audition, the first. I've been on 4 episodes of that so far. I'm kind of like a recurring character.
Cool.
Like, my character Mason, he pretty much calls on me when he needs something like computer related. So it's a really fun role. But the first episode I had to do, and the scene I had to do for my audition, it was like just 3 pages of nonstop. Like, it was essentially almost a monologue about like computers and how they can potentially kill us all, which was really fun.
Now, let me ask you something. When you're doing a show like Elementary, does that stop you from doing another series somewhere else as a guest part?
Not necessarily. No, I wouldn't say that. I mean, if I was on a show full time, I mean, I
So you
wouldn't
have that
the
freedom.
time.
So in other words, if someone knocked on your door and said, "Hey, Robert, we would love you on Gotham," would you have that freedom?
Yeah, so I mean, so long as it didn't conflict with like
Right,
shooting days.
right.
Like generally, whenever they want me back for another episode, they say like, "Are you available for this time frame?"
Okay,
If
so
I
you don't
am,
have like
all
some
right.
kind of exclusivity.
No, not necessarily. No.
So then, this past summer, you worked on the Polka King with Jack Black,
Yes.
which is, to me, it was a great script and a lot of fun to see you working.
Yeah.
What was that experience? You played Jack Black's son.
Right. Working on the Polka King was honestly awesome because it was a fantastic script. There was a fantastic group of people, and a funny story actually that I even told Jack Black, which was that when I was doing Diary of a Wimpy Kid, the makeup artist for all 3 movies would always tell me that I could play his son. And I was always just like, oh, I mean, we'll see what happens. And like, I never thought now it would have actually happened. But then like when it did, I was like, oh, okay. I mean, I really want to get in contact with her and tell her that. I'm going to have to find it. But no, working on the movie was an absolute blast. And I had to learn, well, I didn't have to learn how to play the trumpet. I had to learn, like I looked like I knew how to play the trumpet.
Right.
And I did high school band for 4 years, but I did percussion, so I had no idea. And I thought, I always thought when you played trumpet, you just blew into it. I didn't realize like all like the stuff. I know that sounds really dumb, but it's true. So like I had to take lessons, and the first lesson I had, the guy said, just try playing it. I want to see what happens. I just tried blowing into it and nothing happened. And I suddenly realized that all this time I'd spent in high school judging the trumpet players for not being able to play it right, like I was like, wow, I kind of feel like a jerk right now, you know?
You need to call all the trumpet players from your
I
high school.
kind of
and
wanted to. Like I
apologize.
saw one of the trumpet players from high school like 2 weeks ago, and I literally came this close to walking up to him and just being like,
I'm not worthy.
I'm really sorry. Like I feel bad.
Right.
So yeah.
That's funny. And when you're working with Maya and Wally, who, like you said, wrote Diary of a Wimpy Kid, now they directed Infinitely Polar Bear with Mark and Zoe, and then they did this movie.
Yeah.
How was that experience working with them?
Working with Wally and Maya was really great, especially because one of my favorite movies of all time still is Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Yeah.
I have a very, very soft spot for that movie. And Wally played the opossum. Wally was the opossum in Fantastic Mr. Fox. And so when I first met him on Diary of a Wimpy Kid 3, I actually asked for his autograph, and he was like completely shocked. Because he says, nobody ever asks me for my autograph. But I was like, no, like I love that movie. I love your character, everything about it. And so like...
He's in every Wes Anderson movie.
Yeah, no, he's involved in some capacity with like
right.
every Wes Anderson movie. But working with them was incredible. Like they're just really good at what they do, and you can just tell. And they've got they know what they're doing. They're
They're smart and they're
exactly.
good. And I also find the vibe on the set with them is always great because they're really cool.
It was a very, very, very fun set to be on all the way around.
So you've been doing this acting. You're relatively young. You're very young, actually. What's your future? Like, what do you want to see? How's the Robert Capron story unfold?
Yeah, well, I'm at Brown right now.
Yeah.
I plan on concentrating in like film stuff. I definitely want to keep acting, but I really want to go into writing.
Okay.
I really want to do that, mostly because this is going to sound a little embarrassing, but ever since I saw Breaking Bad when I was like 14, I was like, holy crap, like I want to write, like, and I mean, I probably will not be able to ever write something that good, but you never know, and I kind of want to try.
I think the more you practice, because I made a living
Exactly.
doing it, the more you practice, the more you do stories that touch you and resonate with you thematically, the
better you get.
Yeah,
It
you're a
definitely
talented
practice
guy.
takes perfect. So practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
So I'm planning on. I'm definitely planning on like studying just like writing and whatnot. I'd really like to get into that. Maybe directing too. I mean, we'll see where it goes.
Super. Well,
So,
buddy,
yeah.
I want to thank you so much for joining us. This
thank
was a
you for
real
having
treat.
me. Yeah, no,
and
it was fun.
I hope we're going to see you again soon.
Yeah, no,
on Double
definitely. It would
Feature.
be my pleasure.
All right, brother.
Thank you.
Thanks.